Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And we got a good show for you all today. And how's everybody doing? How's Julian doing?
Well, I think we both, we survived the treacherous journey.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been something in Lord of the Rings. Very treacherous, very long and winding roads. I spun out once. You didn't spin out, did you?
Nah, I was driving really slow.
So this is what happened to me, though. So I was driving pretty slow as well. I need new tires in the first place, but I was on a curve on the road, and the snow is so tall that it blends, like the side of the road blends in with the road itself.
Yeah.
And I guess I was just a little too close to the edge, and my tire slipped off the road into the grass.
Yeah.
And then that's what turned my car. So then I had to reverse pivot and then spun the opposite way and then reverse pivoted there and just wound up straight again. And there's a car behind me probably going what the fuck? I would say it was probably the most smooth and graceful spin out that one could have.
Yeah.
But when you're behind someone that starts it, you don't know if they're going to be able to correct it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone does correct it, you're like, nice, you stuck the landing. That was good on that one. But yep, so we're both here. We survived. Tottenham just scored.
And that's
Charlison.
For those who don't fully understand, it's because in Tennessee we had 2 days of snow.
Unbelievable snow.
Probably
for
like
us.
6 to 7 inches.
Yeah.
Overall. And it doesn't really happen often, and people from here are not used to that. So whenever they see snow, they raid all the stores, the supermarkets, and everything.
The rating of the stores is interesting, and I will say this: part
This
of
is
the reason,
dumbest thing I always experienced.
part of the reason that Southerners are not great at driving in the snow is because our local governments don't have they haven't allocated the funds to properly salt and plow the roads.
Yeah.
So a lot of our smaller back roads get zero attention. And that's what happened. You noticed it on the way into the neighborhood that the studio is in. The main roads were perfectly fine. It was just a rainy day. It's not a big deal. But once you turn off of the main roads or the interstates, it's immediately the roads are just completely untouched. And the biggest thing was that my tires. I needed new tires. I've needed them for the past 2 weeks or so, and I just haven't had time to go get them. And this was the first time that I've driven my car in the snow this year. And I was just like, oh my God, this is... Because I drove my wife's car yesterday and it was okay. It was because the tires are bigger.
Yeah.
They have their treads aren't worn down. My tires aren't completely worn down, but I was like, oof. It was tough getting out from a stop for sure. But anyway, we made it. We're alive. And when we're done with this, we've got to go risk our lives again on the way back. So.
Oh la la. That sounds so dramatic.
But
for those who don't know, we have... Julian knows, but I know he don't follow. Just want to get a great shout out to the AFCON. It started last Saturday, and not fully happy about the Cameroonian performance, which is where I come from. I don't know what the coach is doing. Yeah, and he puts he gets a wing. He takes a winger. He puts in an attack. He does. He's just funny.
It's just funny.
It's a funny coach. But I, for the competition, everything's going smooth and great so far. And I just want to say, I see Senegal or Morocco winning it. Yeah. Mali plays well too, but this by far my top 3: Senegal, Mali, Morocco. That's what I was.
So what happened in the your prediction for Egypt?
The game. Which one?
Because we were talking about what your. I think that you had them as number 1 or you had them as number 2. I think in your prediction.
Egypt, not the Egypt of this this competition overall. They play in Ghana tomorrow, so that will be interesting to see what's gonna happen because they actually drew with Mozambique, but they play in Ghana tomorrow. I'll see how that goes for them because Ghana is not Ghana for what we know. Nigeria, though, is playing Ivory Coast, and Nigeria has... Oh, man. I forgot about Nigeria, too. They have everybody in that team.
Yeah.
They have every single person that you could imagine in that team. But we'll see how things goes.
Yeah. No, I personally don't have access to the. You got some sort of shady website that you use.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So I don't have access to that website, but I honestly, up until because I've had a bunch of other stuff going on with other jobs, I kind of forgot.
Yeah,
because I had intentions of watching highlights from at least 3 or 4 of the bigger teams.
Yeah.
I've got to get back on there. It's only been 1 match week though, so I've got time to get back in there.
Yeah. You can definitely watch the highlight things on Bein Sport and on YouTube. I know Senegal is killing it so far. Mali,
Yep.
like I said, Morocco, and we got the one thing I will point out is back in the days, if you guys have ever been following AFCON, is you had teams that you knew were just coming in to give out points, but it's not how it is these days. Like Cape Verde, it's a slow island, and these guys weren't even considered when we talked about football. But the past decade, they've been doing a lot of work, and they've beat Ghana. When was that? On Sunday, they beat Ghana 2-1. So
Yeah.
that's just for a little quick shout out to the AFCON. Let's move on to the rumors. Manchester United are rumored to buy. Oh, they want to buy Vinicius Junior from Madrid. They want to put it together. Yeah, that's what
Right.
Gary Lineker was doing. He
Yeah.
laughed at it too.
That's ridiculous.
So, what do you think about that? I mean, let's speculate a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's say they could buy Vinicius Junior. That will actually open the way and path for Mbappe to get to Madrid. Now he has that whole side by himself.
Yeah.
Madrid is rumored to want to get Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He's like, to me, that seems that seems more like something that's guaranteed. It's gone
Yeah,
past
I
rumor.
see that. I see that.
He himself
happening.
has been a bit more upfront. Once the player is saying, "Yeah, I would like to do that,"
Yeah.
that means that there's been talk behind. Usually, 9 times out of 10, you've got to expect something like that. It makes absolutely no sense for me, for United to make a move for that high profile or expensive of a player when
Yeah.
their problems are in multiple positions. If there was a final piece of the puzzle that needed to be unlocked for you to really achieve that next level, then yeah, I understand that. But you've got to replace at least one of your center halves. We've talked about that. They probably need 2. And then their fullback situation is still not guaranteed. Sergio Reguilon, even though he was not playing well for them, is now back at Tottenham.
Yeah.
So they're losing. So they're also one guy down. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is also considered to be potentially moving on in January.
Yeah.
Their midfield is still not up to par. Eriksen's probably on his way out either in the summer or something. But so spending all this money and not making it back in any particular way, any particular substantial way, to me, you're just going to increase your debt. You're solving a solution in one position. Like, yeah, you're probably replacing Rashford as like a left center forward. Like, that's probably what you're attempting to do. But I do think that they have bigger issues to worry about than just their forward situation. Their backline's an absolute mess.
What do you think about then on the other side? There's just a rumor, but we don't know for now. Do you think Jim Ratcliffe, when he takes over all the managerial aspect of Manchester United, as far as the football or the day-to-day has been, or the day-to-day side of football at Manchester United, do you think that he will sack Erik ten Hag?
I mean, he probably needed to go. That's the thing about this. He's stayed in for so long, through so many things, that it's difficult now for me to even really think like that's the final straw, because it feels like there's been 4 or 5 final straws. Like, I think that he probably should have been gone earlier. It's definitely difficult for me to pin down. That's for sure. Like,
but this time around, it's a little different, right? Because you have someone that's taking over all the operations. So he might have his own ideas and philosophies, and he might have his own goals that he wants for United, especially that the agreement is for him to run all that football, that operation side of Manchester United.
Well, and that's the way that it usually goes in business as well. Someone at a higher level, at like one of the higher levels, comes into power. The regime changes. A lot of them sort of, whether it's right or wrong, in a professional standpoint, they bring in their own guys. Usually it's because they work well together. You hope that it's that reason. You hope that it's not just because it's your friend and you want to be able to jack around during work. Which does happen at professional high levels as well. Of just like, you're not the best for the job, but you're my friend, or we've known each other for a long time. But like, if there was a time to cut Erik ten Hag and sort of recreate the regime from the ground up, that's the time. And that's also why it makes no sense to me to spend so much money on a single player like Vinicius Jr. when you've got to you're rebuilding this whole system.
Yeah.
Why not spread the funds for Vinicius Jr. over 3 positions instead of just filling the one? If you're wanting to rebuild this squad, because all that's going to happen is you're going to have new training regimens, you're going to have new regimes in the day-to-day process, but it's the same old side.
Yeah.
It's the same old squad. That makes no sense to me. So
Yeah.
I would say this would be a good time to let him go. It's a clean break. It doesn't feel so drama filled either. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like I said again, he's stayed through so many weird things that like it is kind of hard to pin down when he should or will go.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. On the other side, let's talk about Mourinho. It's weird because Mourinho being such a figure in football in general, with defining points, especially in various era of football. The one thing that I never comprehend is the fact that in most situations he has been sacked. Do you think that kind of tarnishes his whole resume and career as a whole? Because now you have coaches that like Pep Guardiola, like even Sir Alex Ferguson or all the other greats. And if you talk about where does he stand in terms of your 5 best coaches in the world, even if he had the chance to be someone like Pep Guardiola, has never been sacked.
yeah.
So
yeah.
that plays a lot on his resume. Although he has all the accolades,
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
but being sacked in a sense kind of put that little dent on.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
I wasn't happy about it, but he always have this 3-year. By the 3rd year, we call it 3rd year curse.
Yeah.
Not everything goes south for him.
Yeah. Well, that means that he makes a career out of immediately coming into a club and making a massive impact.
Yeah.
I think that is an important thing in someone's career overall.
Yeah.
You could be a multimillionaire, a big swinger in business, but if you've been fired from 8 of your 10 positions, something's going wrong somewhere. Like, you're burning bridges at the end or something.
Yeah.
But to me, in athletics, nothing's more important than the accolades. I do think that it's noteworthy that he seems to always get sacked no matter what, that he does have a short stay at pretty much every club that he coaches, but at the end of the day, he gets the results. And I think that the accolades, the trophy cabinet, is more important than whether you choose to leave the club or they politely ask you to relocate yourself. But that being said, I mean, it's definitely a factor. But like Pep Guardiola, it wouldn't be as impressive if he had never been sacked if he didn't have the accolades as well. I mean, because another good example, and I do think that he's a good manager, but I don't think that he's in a discussion for the greatest man, like Arsene Wenger. Lingering at Arsenal way longer than he should have, but he ends up going, okay, well, I'll leave now finally. It's like, well, Jesus, you should have left earlier, but you left on your own accord. It's like, that is a nice thing, but sometimes that can happen where you stay too long and no one really wants you to, no one wants to hurt your feelings and say that it's done. So there's 2 sides to that for sure. So at the end of the day, the trophies matter to me, I think, a little bit more than the manner in which you leave.
I remember he was saying, I think I watched an interview, he was saying that the one that kind of hurts, I feel like this Roma one will hurt if he had to redo that interview today. But at the time he was still at Roma, I think this interview is probably 6 months old. He was like, the one that hurt the most was at Tottenham. And he was like, you guys don't have any trophies.
You've mentioned that before, and there is an irony to that for sure. But it was so funny. I saw a little short video of Jose where he's in the car. I guess he was leaving the practice area, and he's like tearing up and stuff. I was like, this is so Jose Mourinho. It's so funny. Like, even when something's going bad,
drama.
He's got this thing.
A lot of fans, I think they were saying something in the likes of thank you, Mister, or thank you, Master, or something like that. And a lot of fans actually liked him and they've supported Roma. I mean, coming to the games, even though he wasn't winning or when he was at the lowest at Roma. And I guess Roma was at this point they had already made up their mind, especially this year, because I think the new guy, when he took over, his intention was to make Roma as a football figure in Europe, but also to win games and to potentially make the Champions League so he can get funds to buy more players and to establish himself as a global entity.
It all builds on itself. Yeah.
But not going to the Champions League, not making it. I think that's one thing that kind of...
Because they're not mathematically eliminated from Champions League, but they're very low in the Italian table, aren't they? They're like ninth right now.
Ninth. Yeah.
What is the point deficit here? Let me just double check that, because that is...
They haven't won a game, I think, the last 5 games or something like that. But nothing is going...
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've got 29 points, and the fourth spot for Champions League is 34 points. Like, you're not getting...
I think this is the first time they get in since 2003, 2004, something like that. It's the first time they get in on their first 20 games or first... let's say first 15 or first 18, they're not getting at least 30 points.
Yeah.
So
and they're gonna lose more than likely.
The history of the club,
let me see. I mean, Paulo Dybala's stats are, I mean, 5 goals and 6 assists in 13 games with 13 starts. I mean, that's not bad for the Roma side, and they're more than likely gonna lose him potentially in January as well.
And the new coach is De Rossi. So let's see how that goes for them. There was a big controversy about this one, and I don't know where to stand, but that's a fact. So Messi won the best FIFA Man of the Year. What do you think about it?
You know, we had a similar conversation about these his accolades in the past year, and the sentiment's the same. I think that they know deep down that it's the last time that they could even have an attempt of reason to have him in this conversation. So they really went full force with that, because this time next year he's going to have been, completely in the MLS, not competing in Europe. You know what I mean? So it's like if they were going to have that one last push to get some more accolades on him, to get him in the absolute top tier media spotlight of the sport. This was the time. I'm not saying it's the right thing. We've had that conversation as well. I mean, it gets clicks, it gets views on your articles, it gets whatever media outlet that you are. If Lionel Messi is on the cover for a month, that's going to be one of your better performing months, period, than anybody else, whether it be Haaland, Mbappe, Salah, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So they took that one last year where they could do that within reason, and it still makes some sense. But that said, I still don't agree with it.
Yeah, so for people at home that don't know how these things are being chosen, to be the best FIFA women and men of the year, there are a couple of things, right? You have your performance in the year as far as you as a player and off the pitch, and the people that actually vote for it are journalists and some national coaches and some coaches too. And him winning it this year, it's kind of a slap in the face for other players. And I used to not agree with this, but I can say it somewhat in the sense that journalists like someone. They pick someone. The FIFA likes someone. And no matter how you twist it, I think they really love this guy. It don't matter what he does. For all he can do, he could be playing the street, and he might still be the best man of the year next year.
Well, and it's like they like it, and I agree, and I disagree because I don't know them as people, obviously, and I don't really care to. But like, I get what you're saying, but like they actually like him as a person, and I'm not saying that they don't. But what I think is more important to them as journalists, is what I said before of like they like this guy so much because he provides for them. He's not their friend. He's not doing it because he cares about them, but him being in the spotlight and the journalists and media outlets being able to use him in their work betters the sales and the clicks and the traffic on their work. Therefore, they like him more than anyone else, and they have a reason to force him back into that spotlight, whether it's right or wrong, whether he's performing at that level or not. And I'm not saying he's performing poorly, because he's not. He won the World Cup. I mean, come on. But he's not on an individual player basis. He's not playing as well as certain people currently, and that's just a fact.
Yeah.
But they don't move as much merchandise, get views and clicks and magazine sales as he does. So I do understand that, but it's not just in good faith.
Yeah.
It's not just because they like him as a person. It's because he sells their work for them in a way. It's not a bad thing. That's what the media is there for. The media is not there to twist the truth. They're there to give the truth, and the truth is he moves the most traffic in any direction whatsoever. So like I understand that, but at a certain point you're gonna have to hang it up and maybe sell a couple more articles on your with the quality of your writing. And wait for the next player to end up getting to that level. But like you can't force someone to that level of popularity, and you also can't hold on to someone that used to be there that's clearly not there anymore.
Yeah. Well, I get that, but I just think that in addition to that, but I think that there's a reason. When I listen to Craig Burtley, for example, this is probably one of the people that votes for these things. He had made up his mind even when it was Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
It couldn't because he loves Messi.
Yeah.
These people, if you had to put a player within players, I think most of these guys, they actually like the guy.
Yeah.
There's
He could turn into O.J. Simpson. He could murder his wife.
And they would still vote for him.
They probably would. Yeah, they'd be like,
It's in that situation. It's like if you take even in basketball, but although it's not as it is, but someone like Jordan, it don't matter what you could do. There are people that this is the guy, right?
Yeah.
Don't matter. But in this difference, if we basing the criteria on just that World Cup, okay, fine. Like I said, I will never agree with that because the whole year he didn't show up. I don't care who talks about anything. This guy didn't show up the whole year, and he was in the MLS at the end. And you have players in Europe playing at the best. You're talking about the best FIFA of the year, not of the month, not of a single competition. But most of these guys, when you hear the journalists, it's something. Even if you had asked them 5 months prior, they will have told you who will be because they had already made up their mind. Yeah. But now that the competition, for me, I think all of that will be reset in a sense where you have all these past prime players now. Because if this year somebody's talking to me about Messi or Ronaldo,
right?
Yeah, I'm kicking the balls.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I really do think that they used this last year because it was the only time that they could do it and not sound completely insane, just partially insane, to get more traffic on the sites and just honestly just squeeze that last bit of juice that he has before he just starts wasting away in the MLS, which again, the season to promo, season starts February 21st, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And the ticket sales for Nashville were depressingly high. Did you see that BS? Man, look, it's a season opener, so they're gonna. I understand.
Who's opening? Nashville against one?
New York Red Bull.
Okay.
But it's like,
how much for the tickets?
So, if you were in the upper deck, up toward I think the goal opposite the supporter section, they were like $80 a piece. But if you were first level, like right in the middle, they were about 150, 160. And if you were on the opposite side where the box seats are, but like below the box seats, they were somewhere in the 200 range. Oh, garbage, absolute garbage. But some of that's scalpers, some of that's resellers. That's also like Ticketmaster and all those StubHub being fucking shysters, stealing people's money when they don't deserve it. It's the most asinine thing. It's almost as bad as the cable companies just dicking you around any way that they can because they know that they can because they're the only option in town, and you play ball or you end up in the trunk of a car. I don't know. But MLS is back, everybody.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. I don't think I will go watch the first games then if it's that expensive. I'll wait for which one is not that expensive.
And then they take it off broadcast TV so that they can get on the Apple TV teat, which is also expensive. And it's just like, I only have so many middle fingers, guys. I can't give them out to everybody. I've got two hands.
This is you get along with the program or you don't.
Yeah, you fucking shape up, man. Jesus.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. And there were a couple of nations like that in the past as well. I can think of there were a couple decades in Germany, in Russia, in Poland, in Italy, where those ideologies applied as well. So go fuck yourself. All right, anyway.
Paulo Dybala to Newcastle. How about that? I think he might leave now.
That makes sense. Out. That makes sense to me, actually. I think that he could be okay with that.
Yeah. But if it's Newcastle do you think Newcastle, like, where will he? I guess he has his place in Newcastle, but Dybala of now is not Dybala of then. So I don't see.
I mean,
the winning.
He could. Well, I think it was 10 or 15 million, maybe 10 million.
Okay.
It was pretty inexpensive. He is 30. He is 31. So you think that there's still a good couple of years in him if he wants to sort of to step back up. I think that playing in a side that's that energetic will force him to step up. There's no way that, because he would probably be an attacking midfield role, which means that he'd be working pretty closely with Joe Linton.
Yeah.
And I don't see a scenario in which Dybala could play at half speed and Joe Linton not just eat him for lunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Joe Linton's surprise. He seems like a guy that you don't want to upset or let down, and he will just go at you mid-game, like it doesn't matter, like wake your ass up.
Paulo Dybala is crazy because I will remember probably like back in 2016 or 17 even. He was one of my favorite players for Juventus.
Yeah.
Because I thought he had such a bright future and career ahead of him. Not that he had failed, but he hasn't reached to the expectation that I thought personally
that a lot of people thought.
That he will have gone to. Same things like James Rodriguez, all these guys. But I'm so mad now that possibly we haven't never. And we will probably never see the best of Dybala.
Yeah,
in a sense.
And that's the thing as well, where, I mean, you said it, like you had such high expectations for him. Everyone did. He was supposed to, at a certain point, be in that sort of, after you got past Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, and Hazard, Bale, De Bruyne. He was supposed to be in that, in that little chunk of people right after them.
So talented.
A top 15, a top 20 in the world. And he never quite got there, you know. And it's unlikely that he will now. But I'm looking at this setup here, and for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Because Real Madrid were seemingly interested in Bruno Guimaraes.
Okay.
Which, if I was Newcastle, I would not. No.
Yeah.
That's a player that you sort of keep. Like, they've got a good structure. Dybala's not a central midfielder, so you can't one-for-one replace that. But I'm thinking about rotation. I mean, when Miguel Almiron is not informed, can you put Dybala on that side? Yeah. If Longstaff needs rest or comes on late, or in that left midfield, could you move him there?
Yeah.
Dybala is not going to be getting minutes over Isak or Gordon, that's for certain. Or even this Miley kid that's come up lately. He's been playing very well, but there's room for him in this sort of free flowing, almost like a Kai Havertz. It's not a guarantee immediately where he's going to be in the formation and where he's going to actually move around the pitch. But he can sort of take the place of multiple people, either relieving them late in the game or coming on early to sort of confuse the opposition. Like, I think it can work for him, and I do think that being around such hard workers, it'll kind of kick him in the ass a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, Roma doesn't feel like that energetic of a side. I'm not saying that Jose Mourinho doesn't expect a lot from his players, but he himself doesn't have a very energetic coaching style in terms of what he demands players to have. But if Dybala is knowingly going into the sort of run and gun style offense when you have possession, he's going to have to adapt. And I think that he still has it in him. We just haven't seen it in a while because it's not been asked of him.
Yeah. Let's see how that turns out, and let's observe. On the other side, Jordan Henderson. What's happening with all the players that went to Saudi League and supposedly were there to grow the football, and now most of them, if not all of them, want to leave. For Jordan Henderson, he has been rumored, and it might be a short thing because it has always been in the news, that the failure to adapt to the league, the discontentment of playing games where there's only 696 to 700 people watching the games
in these massive stadiums sometimes. Massive stadiums.
And the failure for all the for his family to actually adapt or to
be able to live their normal lives.
Yeah. So it caused such discontentment, and he parted ways with is it Altifact? I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Altifact.
yeah. It is.
And he is said to be going to Ajax, and it don't matter how much he lost in that, because I think he will be paying a big chunk of tax for ending his contract that soon.
Yeah.
But he wants to get back to the top European, at least to the European football in a sense, and he still have that hunger. He wants to play.
He just wants to go back to Europe in general.
Yeah,
he wants to go back to Europe in general, is what it is. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? What do you think about
this whole situation? What is going on in the Saudi League?
Yeah. No, I mean,
at the beginning, the money was there.
The money, well, look, and we've had this conversation a couple of times as well, and it's sort of growing the way that I had anticipated it to. It's like the Chinese league 10 years ago. Like, there's a balloon underneath this thing. Like, it's not full. It's not ready to go. This thing can pop. And they're sort of seeing that the lifestyle around football, because a lot of these guys are going when they're older. They're not partiers, but they're family people. And it's impacting how their family can conduct themselves on a day-to-day basis. That's very important for these guys. And not everybody is going to get the Ronaldo treatment.
Yeah.
Because we've had that conversation of like, yeah, I don't think you said it, but I think that one of the main arguments is, well, Ronaldo seems happy. It's like, well, yeah, it's all built around him.
Yeah.
It's like comparing a state senator to the president of the United States in terms of the political prowess and treatment. Like, Ronaldo is the top of the pyramid in this scheme, and I do think that it's slightly a scheme to attract more people. And guys like Henderson, guys like Karim Benzema, that slightly identify with the social politics of it. I mean,
heard he wasn't happy there, but look at it this way too. I think one of the things that will piss off a lot of fans, even at the beginning when he went there, because of his beliefs and what he stood for, especially at the World Cup, supporting the LGBTQ movement and all these things, and they say, I am going to Saudi. A lot of people were mad about it, but he said he's going to grow football, not really for the money.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we can pinpoint this on for the money as versus going the football itself, because if it was for the money, he would have just suck it up and get the money.
Yeah.
But it also shows that a lot of these players that are just chasing money and getting to Saudi and say, hey, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be treated as a crown prince.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing the same thing. But I think the one thing that it's really at the center is the lie as well, that that money wasn't even a factor for him into going there. I think all of this will come and hunt him back and tarnishing his reputation in a sense for a 6-month internship and coming back with his tail
6-month hostage situation.
With his tail tucked under, and I want to play now in Europe with all this noise he's made before.
I'm back, guys.
So I think a lot of people they will slay him down.
They might, but I also think that people don't understand how, because this is not the first time this has happened in Saudi Arabia, either socially or politically, telling people what they want to hear just to get them into the room. They close the door behind them, and there's 9 guys, and get them. It's like, it's not the first time that there's been some sort of social, political deceit and dishonesty. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the same group of guys that cut up a journalist and took him out in suitcases. So, it's not the best nation to go to for political or social justice. So
and that's not what you want to go there and do.
No, you want to go there like Ronaldo and just get the money. Ignore the
noise around you. And that's the whole political movement and marches, the social justice and warriors. Ignore everything and just go there. If you're going there for the money, get your money and do your time. It's like prison.
And then and enjoy with the family the public executions at 4 p.m. every day.
Then once you get out, you can do all that. But if also you're going there to grow football, go there and try to grow the football that you went there for. If you're going there for the money, go there and get your money. But don't fool us, because we can see right through. On the other side, we have Timo Werner from Leipzig, and
He's on right now in this Manchester United Tottenham game that we've got on replay.
That is true. So
he's fast as shit though, man.
He is crazy fast.
He's fast. That's what he's got. He reminds me of the Roadrunner, but with the sharpshooting skills of Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Can't hit the broadside of a barn, but damn is he fast.
Yeah. I think as a bright future, Tottenham, they play a good game. He will adapt, especially that he is fast. And Tottenham,
his style will work well there.
Translate very well to Tottenham, and there's a low level up for him leaving Leipzig to Tottenham, and from there.
Maybe. Do you agree with that? Really, you really think that?
Yeah. That's a kind of.
At this moment, with Leipzig being
it's still a level up
in the top German sides right now.
Yeah, still a level up in a sense. It's like Girona. Let's say you were playing at Girona. Girona, it's in the face of people. We know about it. But if you play it there and you say, let's say you go to either, I don't want to say Madrid or Barcelona because then that's too much. Right. Everybody will agree that's a level up. But let's say Dortmund's
a level up from Girona.
Same thing. It's not like Dortmund is too big than Girona, but it's a big club.
I'm just thinking because he's been there for this is his second season there at Leipzig, going back to because he was there first. Would you not want to be in a side because Leipzig's playing very well?
Yeah,
and they've got a lot of good opportunities, and they're playing at the level where in the off season you think they're going to get picked apart, like they're going to be sold for scrap for parts and like kind of because every selling club when they play very well for a year, all the buying clubs come around and just poach them. Would you not want to see what happened at the end of the season? I feel like he could land somewhere a little bit higher if he played well enough in the side, which he doesn't get as much playing time. But just when you're around a side that's playing as well as they are, like Leipzig, I just think that if you held on for a little bit, maybe a better option would have come along.
I think that's right too. I think that, but it depends on the state of mind. I think him going to Tottenham in the sense, with hopes to finish in a better place than Tottenham is, or just making a difference at such a high level where all the eyes, and there's a lot of eyes on you every single time. He will still go to one of the biggest clubs if he wants to. If he still plays at the top level, it's like Song could still, if he was out there trying to find for a new club, he could still be approached by Bayern, by all the big clubs. It's just because he loves Tottenham in the sense.
Why? But no, I'm kidding.
The why is a good question. Let's say I play with Tottenham with all these years or whatnot, and they've never won something, and we win something.
Yeah,
you know how iconic that will be.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing for all these players. But
and really fast on Timo Werner, to counterpoint my initial point.
Yeah, dang.
Tottenham's not a bad. Well, I mean, because there's no right or wrong decision for him, I think, at this point. Because when he was at Chelsea, he missed so many sitters, right? Yeah. But at Chelsea, you are demanded to play at this certain level. Like, you don't get to miss sitters at Barcelona, at Bayern Munich, at Real Madrid, at, Chelsea, at one point United. But he seems to do that. And this might be sort of a Jack Grealish situation. Jack Grealish is a way better player, obviously. But when he was at Aston Villa, constantly getting creative chances, and the whole team was kind of built around him, he had no real pressure. But when he goes to play at Man City, where he's in a strict system, he's not able to sort of succeed and fail on his own terms. Maybe the only thing that I can think of is that Tottenham is a high-profile club for a player that can still kind of fail. Like, he doesn't need to hit every single shot. He needs to show that he cares, that he works hard. Maybe he squeezes in a couple to earn 3 points when they didn't deserve them, and he's a hero. He's an immediate hero, whereas that's demanded week in, week out from bigger clubs. He's kind of maybe at this is his ceiling in terms of I can still not be as perfect as I need to be.
Yeah.
But this is the biggest club that I could possibly be at for my skill set and what I'm able to do. Because he wasn't good enough for Chelsea, and if he's not good enough for Chelsea in that top 4 position, then at this moment in time, he's not good enough for City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa would be interesting actually. Now that I think about it, to see how that would work. But like he's not good enough for Bayern or know these other. So really, I mean the club right under them is a club like Tottenham. It's like I get it, but I do think that he could have held out and gotten something better for himself. Whether or not he deserved to be at that position or not doesn't matter. But he might have been able to negotiate his way into a better deal for somewhere else.
I think we got it now. I think I got it. You should sign up to be his agent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
might give him some of that those advice.
I get what 10 or 15%. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I'll see you later. This podcast can go bye bye. And I'm kidding. I would actually, I would pump the money back into this podcast and we'd have a real fucking thing going.
There's another one. Ivan Toney, rumor to there's not really where he wants to go to, but there's not the club. But he wants to be somewhere if the opportunity presents itself. And he said, you can never predict when the right time to move on is. It's obvious someone to play for a top club. So whether it's this January, the right time, if a club was to pay the right money, then who knows? It's obvious someone to play for a top club. So do you think that, what club would be good for Ivan Toney? Leaving Brentford.
And I think that that was a personal statement that he made.
Yeah,
very smart, because what he basically did was he distanced himself in a good way. It doesn't mean that he's not inclined. Arsenal was the number one that was linked with him. Mm-hmm. Arsenal were really looking after Victor Osimhen too, but with Mbappe and Real Madrid kind of cooling off, Victor Osimhen has kind of stepped in the spotlight for Madrid in terms of like, well, we're leaning more toward him because he's not a fucking basket case.
Yeah.
Which then took Osimhen out of the conversation really for Arsenal and made Ivan Toney the number one. But what he's doing with that statement is basically saying, he's saying, I'm not married to, I know that there's rumors, and I've said that I wouldn't mind going to Arsenal, but like I'm looking at everything. Whether or not he's still inclined to still go to Arsenal, you want all offers. Yeah. So he's sort of separating himself from those rumors and that connection to Arsenal in a good way.
Yeah.
To probably leverage a little bit more money out of Arsenal to secure the deal, to just see who else could be interested, because you don't know. Maybe Osimhen falls through at Real Madrid, and then all of a sudden, the next best number 9 really that's up for sale is Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
So maybe he can politic his way into a position like that. Do I think that that's his level? I don't know. We don't know that because he's been playing at Brentford.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it's like, it's one thing to go from Brentford to Arsenal or Brentford to a Bayern Munich, but like you don't get to just go from Brentford to Real Madrid most of the time. Most of the time. So I would say Arsenal is perfect for him.
You never know.
Unless you're a prodigy.
You know, like the kid in Brazil. I forgot if he plays for Santos or whatnot. The kid that's everywhere, that he kind of looks like, all his pictures are iconic. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, well, and
kind of looks like Pele in a sense.
That happens a lot from Santos as well, though. So Santos is known for having these crazy 17-year-old players. Like that makes sense to me. But a 27-year-old from Brentford getting the call from Real Madrid, that's interesting to me. That would make a lot of sense to me. He would have needed to have put in a couple of years at a Tottenham or a United or something like that, I think, for them to get that attention. But no, I mean, the 17, 18-year-old from Santos, like that's literally Neymar. So like, it's got a good track record with that.
Sancho officially back to Dortmund. His first game, I think he an assist.
I believe so. Who's that against though?
It was against we can check it out. But I'm just saying, he looked very happy.
Yeah.
He was so he had what we call in French la joie de vivre. He just had it all on his face. He was glowing.
Yeah.
You know, so wonder what the hell is happening at Manchester United internally, because a lot of players don't feel happy. They don't seem to be happy, and they don't look happy.
Yeah, they don't look very happy at all.
I think they play against Darmstadt. But lately they've been looking a little bit different. So
yeah. But then also keep that in mind as well. I mean, the level of talent overall, before someone yells at me over some dumb shit because they're not listening to what I'm saying, the quality overall in the entire leagues, the Premier League has better quality. So like, he is taking a small step down, playing sides overall that are not at the same caliber. So like, you expect him to put up better numbers regardless of what, because he was abysmal at United.
Yeah.
So he is going to play better in the Bundesliga by default. Like, that's not that impressive to me.
Yeah, but before going to United, he was still playing good because he left Dortmund for United.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's just going back.
And that's what I'm saying as well. Where like someone can play, like you look at someone's numbers that they put up after 4 years in the French league.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, goals and assist wise, and involvements in goals, it's going to be a lesser number usually when they go to the Premier League or go to like that's just the way it is. Yeah. That's how the pyramid of quality kind of works throughout the leagues in Europe. So,
but on average, if you convert from ratio to ratio or pound for pound from every league across, does it do players like that? Is that how will I say? Is that applicable to players that are consistently good, regardless of the league they're playing? Because I can tell you right now, right? Ronaldo back in United, although he was not a striker, but he was killing it, and that's where he had his first Ballon d'Or. Went to Real Madrid, same thing. So players like this that are really consistent and are really good, are these things really applicable to them, or they're just applicable to players that might not be that excellent or been at that level in the Premier League, but when they go to League One, because I can tell you now, right now, Mbappe can put those. He might not score like that, but the level at which he's playing, he can do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think he could as well. Yeah, I think that it's normal for most players, to have that not decline, but just. The goals are harder to come by. Right. The assists are harder to come by. Week in, week out, you're playing against a higher caliber, so you're not able to do all of those things.
Another thing that just popped up: Haaland scored 50 goals.
Of course. When I said most, I did.
And he did the same at Dortmund. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and that's why that's what made it so special, because some people were saying, 18 goals for the season. Something like that. 25 in all comp. Like, it's like, no, he didn't do that. Based on the assumption that usually carries a lot of weight of we don't bring you in from the French league or the Italian league to put up the same exact numbers. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to be scaled differently for this league, but we're expecting that
you show up
a consistent ratio. The quality that you put in that league should translate here for what it is. If it's you scored 20 goals in the French league, you should be putting up about 12 in the Premier League, and anything more than that is very, very good for what's expected based on what we saw. But what you can't do is put up 20 in the French league and then put up 3 in the Premier League. You're going to go back down. It just showed, and that's kind of what it seemed like for Sancho. And again, all the drama, all the BS, whatever. But him and Antony were two of the worst signings in Premier League history in terms of market value that they purchased them for, and then the overall performances that they gave. And again, it's not all his fault. I'm not saying that a coach should back off of a player that refuses to apologize on his end. You know what I mean? We're not talking about who behaved poorly, because it was a mess. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But he's back where he is, happy, and probably at the level of a player that he is. And again, third best league in the world. You're an amazing player still. I'm not taking anything away from that at all. And people do that a lot. They diminish the value of even the 20th best league in the world. If you're playing in the 20th best league in the world, you're an amazing fucking player.
Yeah. If you're an athlete.
Yeah, you are an amazing athlete. You are playing at a very high level. And people don't they lose sight of that because they're so busy talking about the top 5 players in the world. It's that's 5 human beings on the face of the earth. There's more to this sport than that, and you diminish the value of the sport itself when you hold everybody to that unbelievably high standard that exists for a reason. But anyway.
Well, did you watch Barcelona Madrid? Did you watch it?
The Supercopa.
Yeah, Supercopa.
Beat the crap out of Barcelona, man.
I know Carvajal said in an official competition, I'm pretty sure we march on them. And he said it when they lost, and I think it was a friendly exhibition game or something like that in summer, because Barcelona beat them. But he said at the end, I'm convinced, or I'm sure, something like that. I'm quoting, guys. I'm paraphrasing. It's not exactly his words, but he said in an official competition, I'm convinced we'll match over them, and that's what they did. I'm telling you, Vinicius Junior He was so fast for that back line. What the hell is Barcelona even doing?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Well, what was it? I forget. Did Araujo play? Did he start?
He played. He started.
Didn't Barcelona say they wanted 80 million for him if someone was interested? It was wild. But also, if you're trying to offload a defender, I'm not impressed with Araujo. But if you're trying to offload a defender, I'm getting Christensen out of there as soon as possible. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was so surprising to me when he was even staying at Chelsea. When he was at Chelsea and his contract was coming to a close, or there were transfer rumors around him, I was like, yeah, I'm expecting him to go to like an Aston Villa, maybe an Atletico, but I don't know why they would want him because he's not a very good defender. But you know what I mean? But like he gets the promotion to Barcelona, and I'm like, you guys watched him, right?
Yeah.
Because I watched him. If I watched him, I assume and know that you watched him. But you wanting him suggests to me that you didn't watch him, which is interesting to me. But yeah, I mean, and of course Lewandowski gets the one goal.
Yeah. That goal was amazing. But for real, I thought they would have done more. But the team was searching. They were always caught up by Madrid. Madrid even let them have the ball. Say you can have the ball, you can play whatever.
Go ahead, kid.
I'm telling you, every single attack from Madrid was a potential threat for a goal, and that was just crazy because they beat the Barcelona backline every single time. And what they did is use the maximum speed of the both wingers and just maximize on that. And Bellingham was playing amazing. Everybody was just killing it. But Madrid still have a slight problem with the defense, but it didn't even matter at this point because they were beating on Barcelona like Barcelona stole something from them.
When is Militao expected back again? I keep, because he's been gone for so long that I'm losing track. It's like I feel like I'm stuck on an island on Castaway. I have no track of time with him.
I don't know when he's.
They do need him back though.
Yeah, I don't know when he's expected to be back.
But I mean, they look good. And again, this is a season where none of the top sides in Europe are playing as well as they have been and are expected to. Yeah. So, but of those, I do think that they are still playing the best.
Yeah.
They are playing better than City. They are playing better than Bayern. They are most certainly playing better than Barcelona. And yeah, it makes things more interesting. But yeah, overall, I think that if every team has taken a hit in their form, Real has taken the lightest or the softest hit. They still look the most cohesive, and that's why they would probably still be my favorite for the Champions League as well.
Yeah. Who was my favorite for Champions League? I think it was Real, right?
I think you said that, yeah. And then obviously City is second, very closely. But yeah, I mean, unlike last year where it was almost a sure thing that City were going to take the title. This year it's very open, and they are not the number one.
Yeah.
But anyway, it does nothing but make it more exciting. I think all of the the Premier League being more open is unbelievably exciting.
Yeah.
Champions League being very open is very exciting.
What do you think? I think I read something or somewhere about City being. Their case, I think 119 or 15 or something of that, their case will actually be looked at in the near future, and people are calling for harsh punishment. What do you think will have been an appropriate punishment for them? Everton, what was the punishment for Everton?
Oh man, it was point deduction.
Yeah, point deduction.
Yeah, but it was like it was quite a bit. Yeah. It wasn't forced relegation or anything.
Yeah.
But no, I saw an article where like if all of those counts into being valid, or even if most of them are valid and are counted.
Yeah, true.
Someone was saying something like
they have to prove if it were. Yeah. They actually did it or not.
And the number was what? 100 and what?
115, I think.
115. So let's say out of the 115, 75 are proven.
Yeah.
That still, you think, deserves relegation. But someone was saying something like a 3-year ban. Like even if you make it through promotion, you don't move on.
Ooh.
So it's like you've just got to sit. And I mean, I'm not opposed. Like 115 is unbelievable, and what that does is that diminishes every single thing that they accomplished at the time, unfortunately.
It also puts in question the credibility of the league itself, because they could have cut something like that early on. But I'm just saying it would be difficult for a club of that caliber, because then you're not just looking at the club, but you're looking at the entirety of like the Premier League football.
Yeah.
You're looking at the fans. You're looking at the money coming in. You're looking economically, socially. How are the Premier League in a sense going to be affected?
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at the people even owning the team, you know. So there's a lot of that. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Or it's a
because the
good
last thing that
thing.
you want to do is not punish somebody because it affects your personal money.
Yes.
That's not a good thing. And
also,
it's like,
you got to set an example, but
Yes.
I'm wanting, you can't be too crazy about it too. I mean, you could pull a Juventus move. Yeah, I get that if you want to.
and they kind of recovered it. They kind of recovered pretty quickly.
I would say if the one and whatnot numbers are proven to be what it is, and City are guilty, I think having them relegated probably this year will be a move. Because now you set an example, but 3 years, I don't know about 3 years.
Yeah. What about 1 year? You go down, and it doesn't matter where you place, you will hold. So it's 2 years technically guaranteed, but there is no you're relegated, and then if you are promoted, you come right back up. Like I would say, regardless of where you place in the championship this year, you will stay another year. I don't know. I'm not in charge. Thank God. That sounds like an awful job.
Yeah.
Like there's no better way to make you hate the sport that you think that you love than doing the paperwork. God, Jesus. Anyway, like that's miserable. Anyway.
Well, this upcoming weekend we got some games. Is it mostly in England? Is it mostly FA Cup?
Yep. Tomorrow, as it stands, on the 18th. So this episode will be out by then. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey. That'll be interesting. But on Saturday, Arsenal host Crystal Palace. That should be a way to get them back on track. You hope to really set things right. Later in that day is RB Leipzig hosting Bayer Leverkusen. That's actually a very big German matchup. I would like to personally cover that. Whether we do an entire match breakdown is we don't know, but I think I would like to try to watch that full game. My weekend is kind of stacked though, but and then on Sunday, Bayern, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona, Juventus, and Girona all play. Girona playing Sevilla, but other than that, the outcomes of those matches should be pretty understood for what they are. Bournemouth and Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Betis, although Real Betis might do something okay.
Yeah.
Lecce hosting Juventus. You know what I mean? Like these are expected results. But yeah, so it looks like really if we are going to talk about the matches worth discussing on Monday's episode, and we will be back on the regular schedule next week. The snow will be gone. The holidays are over. Thank God. I was ready for everything to be done. And then the snow hits and it's like a second vacation. It's like, no, I actually want to get back to work. We'll probably discuss that Copa del Rey match. Yeah. Maybe discuss Arsenal, but definitely discuss Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen. That sounds good to me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. Everything sounds good.
Yeah.
No complaint, no problem.
Beautiful.
The Copa del Rey on the 18th against Atletico Madrid will be a good game to watch. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Want to see what Madrid has in stock for us, and for those people that are for Atletico Madrid, I want to see what Atletico Madrid has for Madrid too. And on the other side, for those of you guys that are keeping up with the AFCON, go and watch it. Super interesting and crazy right now. I think the Asian Cup is about to be closing in a sense. I don't know. I got to check that out. But overall, we will be send us your questions, send us your what you think you like, what you want us to talk about, and at every time we're always looking to get it to improve in a sense. Yeah, I try to send out polls every week or so about just like certain things that you know like do you prefer this, do you prefer that, this and that. The resounding I liked it a lot. I put out, would you rather us cover for a live watch along the FA Cup final or the Europa League final, and I believe it was like a 92 to 12
landslide for the FA Cup final, which was interesting. And it worked out well because if we had watched the Europa League final, we would have been in the studio for my birthday, and so I wouldn't be able. So I'm kind of glad. Thank you, everybody. You let me off the hook on that one. But no, so like the FA Cup final might be a guaranteed watch along at this point.
Okay.
Let's just run through those super quick.
Okay.
Because they could actually work out in our favor. March 9th could be a good one. Liverpool hosting Man City at 9 a.m. That's not so fun for me. April 21st, Real Madrid hosting Barcelona on a Sunday. That sounds good. If Leverkusen and Liverpool end up matching up in the Europa League, either doing a leg 1 or a leg 2, that would be great to see. And then the FA Cup final on May 25th. So that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 potential watch-alongs. I really hope that Leverkusen-Liverpool matchup happens before one of them gets eliminated, or Liverpool's not getting eliminated.
There's also like Champions League and stuff, but
and the Champions League final on June 1st is an obvious. I didn't want to even say because it's an obvious one.
Yeah. So, go comment, subscribe to all our social medias and all our platforms, and go on Spotify if you want to listen to this podcast while driving. Go and do it. Give us the 5 stars. Give us every single thing that you have. Just give it to us. And
we will take it. We will take it. Either through a kind gesture or by force. It will be taken. It will be ours.
Yeah. And next week we'll be here for you guys, and we'll have another show. Bye.
Goodbye.